I'm Taylor-Alexis, number one. Number two, if you hate Beyonce, which I'm going to get to, it's such a weird concept to me, this is not for you. If Single Ladies is your favorite Beyonce song, this is not for you. So, grab a snack, come on back, let's sit down, let's talk all things Cowboy Carter. Part of me wants to do this with a mic, but I just feel like I feel ridiculous. I'll come back. I need my hands. But anyhow, today we have notes because I cannot express to you how much I love this album. Like, it is a history lesson. It is a work of art. Everything just flows. It's just, I'm so excited. Okay, so I know, really quickly though, it's been a while. So hey, how you doing? Appreciate you for remaining patient. I've had a couple of things going on, jury duty, Pisces season, food allergies trying to take me down, but it's okay. We're back and we have an EpiPen. So let me upgrade you. First things first, I have this theory where I believe that people that hate Beyonce, specifically women, are not to be trusted. Indifference, yes, but hating? And then it's like, when you ask what's the reason, it's usually just something so asinine, so like ridiculous. And you're just like, huh, okay. Because the woman has been out since like mid 90s. Yeah. And you don't like one single song, or like you can't say one good thing. Says a lot about you than her. I'd like to say that I'm part of Beehive with something to lose. Like, I'm not going to argue with people on the internet. I think Beyonce's catalog has proven herself over and over and over, so I'm not about to sit here and argue with anybody about Miss Giselle, because what? Since that Super Bowl commercial, everybody has been super hyped about Act 2. We don't know what it's going to be. We're just like, we need it, give it to us, inject it in our veins, all of that, right? So when she said that the new album is coming March 29th, I was like, clear the schedule, don't talk to me. Nope, I need to sit back and just fully ingest it. March 29th got here, and let me tell you, you remember how Baby Shark went crazy and the kids were just playing it over and over and over again, or people were playing it over and over again for their kids? That was me with this album. Like, I'm not gonna get into how many times I listened to it, but just know, I know lyrics, ad-libs, everything. I just love it. I love it. I love when we get like a full project and you can tell that there was like thought put into it, you know? So I thought we'd just go through track by track. Now there's 27 tracks. Not all of them are full songs, but you know, when she put out that track list, I was gonna like sit there and try to decipher what it was, but let me tell you something. After 2016, I think it was that was like Lemonade era, I was like, Beyonce, I love you, but I value sleep and I don't want dark circles. So I'm gonna hit you in the AM. I'm gonna catch all your drops in the AM. You're not gonna do this sneak, you know, midnight 1, 2 AM LA time. So I waited, and oh man. The track one, American Requiem. That one opened up, and when I first heard it, I was like, okay. I'm like, As the song kept progressing, and I'm hearing that, look at here. Maybe I should use the mic for this. Look at here. Look. This feels like a dismantling, right? And if you listen to the lyrics, this album was just kind of birthed out of that Country Music Awards moment where she didn't feel welcomed, right? So to me, when I saw the title, it was Cowboy Carter, I was like, okay, maybe it's a country album. But when she said it's not a country album, and then I listened to the album so many times, I'm like, this is an album birthed from an experience within the country world, not necessarily a country album, because baby, lots of genres, not drama, but lots of genres. I love a great storyteller. The church organs in that was like phenomenal. It was just perfect. It was a nice build. You know, there's a lot of gospel that's within country music, or gospel roots within country music. So I thought that was a great way to open up. And it's just kind of like talking about, we're killing those ideas, you know, we're dismantling the idea of like what it means to be American, what it means to be American as a black person, or what it means to be American as a person of color or woman, etc. And let's just say, like, the research was done, and as a research girly, I can appreciate that so much. Okay, of course, the harmonies are stacked as usual. Like, I'm always curious of just what that footage looks like in the studio, you know, of doing that. I wish I could, like, I would sit back and watch any of my favorite artists, like, in the studio, like, if he's on some, like, Big Brother thing, just watching them. So, once I heard that, to me, like, I listened to that song with my eyes closed, and it just felt like she was just, like, letting loose, like, breaking everything, just going crazy. So, I'm like, what are we gonna get into on this album? So the second track, which felt super intentional after the outro, was Blackbird, which obviously is a cover. I'm not sure why there's so much hoopla. I mean, yes, actually, well, Beyonce's not the first person to cover this song. You do know that, right? So, like, why is everybody up in arms? Jesus. And the song was written originally to, like, kind of highlight or, you know, inspire Black women out there to just keep going. You know what I mean? Especially during the civil rights movement. So it's really timely that this is happening. Well, this cover came out now, and it's the second track. It's just, like, really a statement of, like, yo, you have to keep going forward. Like, no matter what is thrown at you, Black women, keep going forward. I just really quickly, I just want to go back to a lyric from American Requiem. It's like, a pretty house that we never settled in. That part. That part. 4 other Black country artists are featured on there. Tanner Dell, Brittany Spencer, Tiara Kennedy, and Raina Roberts. So for me, I love that they came in towards, like, the last verse of, you know, of the song, just kind of like this strength in numbers kind of moment. Listen, if you think I'm reading too much into this, I don't care. I think everything that Beyonce does is super intentional, so I'm not gonna just shy past it. So, sorry, if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. I just want to make sure that I covered everything, especially in the time where they're removing Black history from schools and stuff. So that's another conversation for another day. I'm gonna keep it light, I'm gonna keep it cute, but the next thing goes into 16 Carriages. So that was my first pick out of the 2 singles that dropped during Super Bowl, and the other one was Texas Hold'em. I mean, I like Texas Hold'em, but I'm just saying, 16 Carriages, I felt that one. I just felt like, wow, it's just so simple. You know, the chords are great. You know, she's talking about the sacrifices that she made in her career, just kind of, you know, dealing with seeing, you know, mom and dad fighting and always on the road and not having, like, the freedom to kind of do as she pleases because of the celebrity, the, you know, pushing so hard for her dreams and stuff like that. So, you know, everything comes with sacrifice, and I think sometimes we can get away from that and not realize that, you know, in order to be great or in order to achieve things, that there are going to be moments in your life where you have to sacrifice things. So I think this was a nice song that was giving us a different, or maybe an inside look at her, or what she thinks about fighting so much for her career, because it reminds me of Pretty Hurts, right? Of, like, you know, doing everything to get that pageant or to be the beauty pageant winner, and then you're like, damn, I just did all of that for that. So this just kind of feels like an extension, like a little bit more deeper. You know, she's talking about being on the back of a bus and, you know, watching mommy cry and daddy lie. Like, I'll get it. Lyrics aside, just like the production, just like the beat and like the organs and all that stuff, it feels like you're on a train, like moving forward and just progressing and following her on her journey. So, on her reflection journey. So I think that's really cool. So then we get into Protector. Now, man, I had to pull over with that one. Not physically, but, like, you know, figuratively speaking. Protector makes me want to have some babies. I mean, I do, but I'm just saying, like, tomorrow. Like, it's so sweet. And it made me cry when I first heard it because, you know, you hear Rumi opening up asking about the lullaby, and then, you know, the cute little please, you know, at the end. But it just kind of, it was just such a sweet, like, letter to her daughters, which I thought, or her children, you know, because her could be included in that too. But I just thought it was, because Rumi was featured on it, maybe it was intentional to her daughters. Like, the lyrics, you know, I'll be your protector. And then when she flips it to saying, like, I'll be a projector, even though I know you're going to shine on your own, I was like, oh my God. I don't know. Man, it made me think about my own relationship with my mother, or lack thereof, and kind of wishing, like, damn, like, you know, you imagine being your daughter's protector, your daughter projector, instead of like whatever. So, you know, lots of like complicated feelings. But the flip side of that too, I'm like, I can't wait to have children, because I'm like, they're just gonna be so loved. There was a line about lifting you up so you can be raised, and then there's references to the giving tree. I remember, if y'all read that book, like, just have me in my little nostalgic feels. And I don't know, it just, that song feels like a warm hug. So I think, you know, starting from American Requiem, we're dismantling, where at Blackbird we're telling Black women to continue pushing forward, and then we get to 16 Carriages, where she's reflecting on her journey, and now we're at Protector, where she's talking about her daughters, her children. My heart, my heart. So then we go to My Rose. So I'm like, Beyonce, how many times are you gonna make me cry? Like, on one album, I'm only at track 5. So, you know, I feel like that song is like 53 seconds of self-acceptance, right? She's talking about, you know, we have so many flaws, so many roses, but none to be picked without thorns, you know, so be fond of your flaws, right? Jesus, I wept. Sometimes we could be overcritical of our own flaws. I know I've done it. I'm not coming on here talking about I'm perfect on anything, but you know, you have to just get back up and keep going. So it's really short, really cute. I loved it. The next part was Smoke Hour, which featured the legend, Willie Nelson. So I feel like it's like super intentional, and it's just audio of him changing, or someone changing the radio station, right? Maybe Beyonce in the car that we saw in the teaser video, but changing the radio station, so you have that nostalgic audio sound. Like, it's kind of like Beyonce is giving like a little history lesson. You're hearing Rosetta Tharpe, you're hearing Chuck Berry, you're hearing Roy Hamilton. So all of this is like super intentional, Son House, and then you hear Willie Nelson, where he's just kind of like, you know my name, don't need to know your name. So it's like, oh, Big Willie, not the little one. So then we go into Texas Hold'em, and I just want to say, I hate the internet so much, because every time I hear that, so every time that beat starts, I hear, this ain't Phaedra, and I'm like, oh, why are we like this? Why are we so unserious? Why? Of course, you know, that was like the up-tempo single that came out Super Bowl night, so it's gonna go up. Well, I think it already has, but it'll probably go up even more now that she dropped a remix to it with like a little bit of bounce on it. You know, people were twerking either way. It's put on next season for Beyonce. What is going on? Like, tell us. You know something that we don't know. But first, boots, sologenic, photogenic, shoot. So then the next song is Bodyguard, which is my ultimate fave. Well, one of my faves on the album. So when I heard that song, I was like, wow, this is such a like flirty, summertime, you know, nice little twist from the more serious songs in the beginning. And oh man, there's a lot of body swing, a lot of like, you know, putting the rooftop down while you're driving on an open highway kind of vibes with the sunset. It's just magical. Oh my god, to be in love, so nice. And she was even saying like, I could be your Kevlar, and I had a little side eye, because I'm like, all right, are we taking bullets for people now? Like, no, I get it. We're not being literal. But what I thought was cute was like, I can protect you in the mosh pit. That part, I don't know if you remember the Watch the Throne era. Jay-Z and Kanye were on tour, and when Niggas in Paris came on, they created like a mosh pit, and I forgot where it was, but you just see Beyonce like turning up in there too. So I thought that was cute. And man, Watch the Throne was such a time. I remember going to see that concert in Atlantic City, and I can't remember how many times. I want to say they did Niggas in Paris like 7 or 8 times, just back to back, and everybody was still like, like, what a time. So I know the internet's like running with it. It's like, oh, she's talking about Julius. I'm like, guys, let's listen to the lyrics, please. Words mean things. So then next we get to Dolly P, okay, who has just been so cute and so supportive. Another legend. Saw an Instagram comment around the release where it was like, you know, Jolene and Becky have a timeshare in Florida. I'm like, why are we like this? You know, I don't know. I got like a little like teary-eyed on that, because I love seeing, I guess, legends supporting other legends, you know, or, you know, supporting the new folks. I mean, obviously Beyonce's not new, but she hasn't been, Dolly Parton has been around a lot longer than Beyonce. So I don't know, I just think it's so nice. And Beyonce's always so humble, which like I really respect. Being mindful of the challenges and the obstacles that the artists before her had to face. Okay, like we didn't even get into the chitlin circuit part, but I just love that about her, and I think more people should do that. Not just only in art, but just in life too. Like I always think about how my grandmother came here in the 70s and figured it out. So it's like, how dare I just sit back and do nothing with life? What? Like all this sacrifice? No. So that doesn't mean I'm like some overachiever, but it's just something that I think about often, and I think it's really nice to honor those that came before you in that way, especially with the things they have gone through. Dolly P and her cute little voicemail voice, you know, just talking about she also had to deal with the Jolene, but you know, what she say? Just the hair of a different color, but it hurts the same. Like, right? So now, let's get into Jolene because, okay, you know, of course, you have the original, and then you have Beyonce's version. Now, the original, it's very passive and kind of like, you know, please don't, please don't. And I've seen people say like, oh, that's the classy version, da da da. And I'm like, I get that, but sometimes people know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. So it's like, I'm not begging you to leave him alone. I'm warning you because guess what? Bang, 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 bang. I raised that man. I raised his kids. I know my man better than he knows. Listen. But my favorite line is, I think the lead up to is like, I hate to have to act all crazy, but your peace depends on how you move, Jolene. Just saying. It's like in general, your peace depends on how you move. Jolene, Jolene, Jolene. People are so rude. I did see people say like, oh my God, how could you be attracted to this? How could anyone else be attracted to Jay-Z? And I'm like, first of all, stop. Okay, this is Jay-Z we're talking about here. Now listen, I'm not putting anybody on a pedestal because I don't think anyone's above, you know, regular human shit. I said I'm trying to stop cursing, but in that sense, she's not even talking about just like his looks per se. It's just like his soul, like how he supports her. Look at the Grammy speech that he did a couple months back of, you know, just saying like, hey, you know, by your own metrics, Grammys, she should have won this by now. What's really going on? Like, imagine having somebody support you like that. It's real. It's real. You can't even, man, I'm not going to get into dating. I'm not going to get into dating. But I thought it was really funny too that before, like when there was like talks about Jolene dropping or Beyonce doing a cover of Jolene, there was this girl, I think her name was Dasha Doll, and she was like, she used a sample of Jolene. And the opening line was like, I would have shot Jolene. And I was like, yo, that's a mood. I get it. But like, what? Like, I think she had to take it down because obviously she didn't get that cleared. And I don't think, you know, Dolly P wants anybody talking about shooting Jolene. Like, hello? What? To be honest with you, I would love all versions of Jolene. I want the Afro beats. I want the reggae. I want, you know, I want reggaeton. I want all of it. Like, imagine dirty foot girl. Jolene, dirty girl. Take my man, take your life. I don't know, just saying. But yeah, sometimes you gotta let people know. It's like, stop playing with me. Anyways, we don't have those kind of problems. Moving on. The next track is Daughter. So this song, really, really like it. Feels like the follow-up to Daddy Lessons, right? You know, she's fantasizing about murder. Basically talking about, you know, you cross me, I'm nothing like my father. I am colder than Titanic water, okay? And it also made me think about all of those songs, those beautiful songs. I think about that song, I See Red. I think about Revenge by Mariah the Scientist. I think about White Lies by Bridget Kelly. I love that song. I love that song. If you haven't heard White Lies, please go listen to it. It's like from the perspective of a woman that found out her man was cheating her, but she's telling the story or singing the song as she's in court, trying to defend it like, I didn't mean to shoot him dead. White lies, white lies. The other part that I want to mention is the opera. I just, stop playing with Beyonce. Please stop playing with Beyonce. She has been playing or experimenting with scales, I think Arabian scales, since like the 90s. And I love to hear her do a little bit of opera here and there. It made me think about Homecoming when she did opera, and I think she was sitting on the steps and all the girls were laying on her, and then they like kind of blew away into the wind as she was singing. I love it. Like, I would even take an opera EP. Just, 4 or 5 songs, nothing crazy, maybe 6, finish it up. Hell, 7 of opera by Giselle, because lovely. So then we hear the next song, which is Spaghetti. And we have a nice little like intro from the Linda Martell. I think it's really funny because the way she's talking about genres kind of feels like a little baby talk. It feels like a little condescending, like, genres are a funny concept, aren't they? And then just talking about like how artists struggle with being confined. And I'm like, yes, why do we have to be in this box of like this cookie cutter thing of following things? Like, why can't we dibble and dabble and experiment? And to me, that is the whole point of this album. The whole point. So I thought that was great. A nod to spaghetti westerns. And let me tell you, Beyonce, baby girl. The research was done. Spaghetti westerns is a film genre where they have like low budget western films that were shot in Europe, primarily Italy, hence the spaghetti connection. No sauce, no sauce. Just talking your shit like, you ain't got no sauce, you ain't got no sauce, so stop it. But it's, speaking of genres, right, or, getting out of the box, so there's the Brazilian song sample, I think it's, what's it called? Aquecimento das Danadas by DJ Mandrake. And I think that song came out in 2020, and it's good. It's like, just her mind, her team. And then when you hear Swiss Beats, like, I don't know, it just feels like it just all comes together when you hear him, like, right? I mean, I can't do his voice, but listen to it. So, and of course, rapping Beyonce made an appearance, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see the flow. Sidebar, her husband is sprinkled all over the album too, and I don't think we'll ever know this information, but sometimes I just want to know out of curiosity, like, which lines did he pen, But maybe one day we'll get that later in life. Towards the end of that song, we have a country artist named Shaboozey. So also what I love about all of this is that Beyonce is also putting us on to some country artists that we may not have heard of. So Shaboozey, he comes on to the end. It's kind of like this calmer outlaw feeling, House of the Moon, House of the Moon. Now that we're like a little bit calmer from the spaghetti, from the Brazilian funk, rapping, fast beat thing, then we go into Alligator Tears. Again, simplicity is everything. This song kind of feels like a Fleetwood Mac inspired track. Bars. She's like stacking her vocals and talking about manipulation. Like, how many times, you've dealt with somebody who's maybe has hurt you and hasn't shown any remorse. And that's okay too, because sometimes people take a little while to get to that point where they're like, oh damn, like I probably shouldn't have done that or whatever. This push and pull of being in love with someone that's hurting you, but like it's crazy. And then like the forgiveness, there's a line, she was like, you say change religion, and now I spend Sundays with you. And I'm like, wow, the power, because it's actually crocodile tears, just like, oh yeah, you're just, I bet you're really hurt by that. This is all fake, So now we get a quick pause with Smoke Hour 2. Willie Nelson is back, and we're gonna just pull over on this review. You can't digest it all from one's listen. You can take in the greatness, but I feel like the more you listen to an album or a full project, or the more you watch a film, the more you can digest it and you can sit with it. You can let it marinate and do little things. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could hear different instruments, or you can hear different ad libs and things like that. So I know when I listen to music, the first thing I'm listening to is the beat, and then I'll go back again and I'm listening to lyrics, and then I go back again and listen to it, the lyrics and the beats together as it's presented. Big Willie is back on KNTRY radio, and he's basically like, I just feel like it's like some kind of intervention, just saying like, sometimes you don't know what you like until someone you trust puts you onto some good shit. And then I love, he was like, if you don't like it, you can find yourself a jukebox. Thank you. So I think nice touch. So now we're on to track 15, which is Just for Fun, and I believe, Willie Nelson introduced that too. But this feels like a super spiritual, like, award show performance, and it's featuring Willie Jones. I think it's a great follow-up to the Smoke Hour thing of just kind of creating without seeking validation or praise, just creating from a place of what feels best to you, like trusting your gut, trusting your intuition of like, yo, this is who I am and I'm doing it just for fun. Also, keep going despite being overwhelmed, you know, try it out and see where the chips fall. It's great. And then I love that Beyonce was like, I am the man and I know it. And then also there's another lyric that's like, I pray to her. Like, it's a beautiful song. Time heals everything. I don't need anything. And then we move on to the duet that we did not know we needed until March 29th. Miley. I'm so happy for her. I really am. I am so happy for her. Just navigating from Hannah Montana to Miley Cyrus and love and marriage, divorce, and, you know, success and all of that. So really, really happy. This song, speaking of doing things for just for fun, you have like two besties. This feels like a best friend anthem of just like, I'm going to be there for you, this Thelma and Louise kind of thing. I saw people were also kind of upset, like, oh, we thought we were getting like a part 2 of Lady Gaga and Beyonce. Now, that would be nice. Trust me. I love me some Telephone and the Videophone remix. I love that song to this day. It was so nice to hear Beyonce and Miley just harmonizing. Oh, this is so sweet. Like, you have your best friend and you love her and you just riding out together. That brings us into Levi's Jeans. And I mean this in a great way, but this feels like a campfire karaoke song. Like, let's say you're camping with a group of people and we just put on the instrumentals of this and you just sing it. Like, and it also starts off with the ejecting of the tape and then putting it in. So again, it feels like the album is like defying the radio format of like having a genre, like, oh, you can only play country on this station, you can only play R&B here, or you can only play pop there. So I like that as well. If you read her press release on it, she kind of talks about the decision to use very old instruments because, like, in this day and age of AI and people like using your voice and your image and things like that, she wanted to kind of focus on using actual instruments and then kind of doing random things like using her nails, which of course, for percussions and boot stomps. I'm like, we love a Foley Queen. We love it. I like the song. It's super flirty. Post Malone comes on and gives it that raspy, edgy feel. I love that he said, you're my renaissance. Like, hello. Again, going back to like, I want to know if Jay-Z wrote this line. It's like, I'm giving you these blues. It's in my jeans. Like, will we know? Will we know? I want to know. Another slow down moment with flamenco. And I love, if you listen carefully, like the flamenco floor stomps and things like that. And it's just, I wish that this song was a little longer, but the vocals are heavenly, and it does sound like something that I can hear Halle and Chloe Bailey cover this too. Like, so sweet. So let's move on. The Linda Martell Show, another interlude leading us into the dance portion of the album. I feel like from this point on, it's just we shaking ass. Linda Martell, we're paying respect again. This is what I'm talking about, paying your respect. She's the first commercially successful Black country artist, and she had to also face some things and just like being categorized into one section of music or one genre of music, and just fighting through that and like dealing with lawsuits with her manager, just so much. So it was nice to have her on the album as well, just to introduce the next song, Ya Ya, which is just like, I feel like a tribute to anyone that has been through the Chitlin circuit. Let me tell you, I cannot wait to hear this live. It reminds me of B-Day with like how she was experimenting with live instruments. I cannot wait. Like, this song is a little richer. This song is the Jackson 5. This song is Aretha Franklin. This song is Tina Turner. Like, yes. Oh, I love it. And of course, we have our Nancy Sinatra sample. These boots were made for walking, and that's just what they do. In the song, she's talking about her family's worked and died for this country, things like that, and just the treatment and just having fun, breaking out, and keeping the faith while living in America, right? And I'd imagine, like, maybe this song was written, because she said she worked on this during the pandemic. Oh, we'll never know. We'll never know the actual details. Like, these are the questions that I would love to ask Beyonce. Like, so, like, when did you write this one? Like, How many times did you go back to it, or things like that? Like, how did you get it so timeless? Like, so many questions. We're twerking, we're shaking, we're jerking, we're swimming, and then we calm down with Oh Louisiana, which is just kind of like a sped up version of Chuck Berry's song, Oh Louisiana. So I feel like it's just the nice, or the perfect calm after the storm, the good storm, the party storm of Ya Ya. So then we ease on into Desert Eagle. And baby, let me tell you something. That bass, it is everything. I love this so much I had to go look up who was doing the bass. So Marcus Reddick, thank you. You played that bass like the rent was due. And let me just say this. I love nasty Beyonce. I love nasty. Nasty. I love it. Because I was like, wait, what are we talking about here? Desert Eagle? Oh my God. So funky. It's so like breathy. It's so fun, you know. So I love anytime Beyonce gets into that vibe. We're heading over to Ireland real quick and Scotland for Riverdance. Bounce on the shit, dance, dance, bounce on the shit. No hands. Again, more of the nasty. Perhaps once we get to Desert Eagle, it's just like sex until we get to Amen, which maybe is like the climax. Roll with me. Then we have the transition into Two Hands to Heaven. Man, again, I'm gonna say this. This is another song on the album that makes me feel like, oh, I want to be in love. I want to be in love. To me, I think this is one of like probably the best song on the album. I'm so happy that it's a longer song. I'm so happy for the transition. There's like R&B roots in it. I feel like I've levitated. I've left Earth. Like, it's just so good. And the beginning of it kind of reminds me of like heart pulses, like irregular ones, irregular heartbeats. But there's a lot of space references with the tour, right? The Renaissance tour, and then the Verizon commercial too. So I'm like, what does that mean for Act 3? But we'll get there. We'll get there. I think it's a beautiful song. I love it. I love the transition from Hands to Heaven to Tyrant, where Miss Dolly P comes back and she's like, all right, girl, let's pick this up. Let's you know, let's have some fun again. Man, Tyrant. DA got that. Phenomenal. This song feels like dominatrix vibes, BDSM, real sexual, real nasty, like, ooh. I feel like when I listen to it, there's a lot of slow-mo with like dust, you know, and saddles, and you're just riding a horse somewhere, you know. Like all I see is like black cowboys riding out into the sunset. At the 2-minute and 33-second mark, I feel like there's a reference to Haunted. Go back and listen and tell me if I'm bugging, but I'm like, I love Haunted. So it's nice. That's a really good song. Still riding out, right? Everything just nasty, just how I like it. We get to Sweet Honey Buckin', which is like 3 songs in one. You have the sweet version, you have the honey, and you have Buckin'. Listen, it's just like we're rebelling, we're moving forward. It's like, okay, Beyonce mentioned that she didn't win Album of the Year, and she's like, you know, I'm not tripping, taking that on my chin. I come back and fuck up the pen. Like, of course, I think that's what you should do, right? Like, go back and keep working hard. Like, don't give up, I would say, if you don't win, because guess what? Sometimes you don't get recognized for your talent or your work, your hard work, until later. When I heard Sweet Honey Buckin', I was like, oh, it's time for the percolator. It's time for the percolator. It's time for the, I was just like a mechanical bull, bucking. And of course, you know me, I love me some Pharrell. So when I heard his little sprinkles on Honey, I was like, oh, I love it. And of course, Shaboozie's on there too. So great song. And it leads us to the final song, which is Amen. So now we go and we take it all the way back to the beginning. When I heard the song, when it finished, I was just like, yo, I just thought of the line where Beyonce was like,
people don't make albums anymore. They don't make albums.
What? So then she mentions the statues, that they were beautiful, but they were lives of stones, you know, again, dismantling. It goes back to those old ideas that are buried here. And it's like, all right, we're killing the whole thing of like, you got to stay in this box, you know, or she's not country enough. And it's like, the girl is from Houston, Texas. What more do you want? Okay. So that concludes the album. Apparently, Act 1 was supposed to be Act 2. So if you listen to Act 2 first and go into Act 1, it just flows great. So now I'm like, what does this look like on a stage. What does this look like with the visuals? Are we gonna get visuals, or are we gonna be the visuals again? Part 2. I would love to go see her in Houston for this. It just feels right. It just feels right. Is Act 3 gonna be a rock fusion album? Because let me tell you something. Don't Hurt Yourself with Jack White. I still play that to this day. Like, it's just so good. Some people were thinking that maybe it's gonna be R&B. I feel like she's done that already, so why not do the rock? Phenomenal job. Like, this album, I cannot stop listening to it. Let me know in the comments if you can take a guess of how many times I've listened. I will let you know if someone guesses. I will, I promise. I can't wait for Act 3. I know we'll probably get it in 2026 because obviously you're gonna space things out. Like, if we got Act 1 in 2022 and Act 2 in 2024, so maybe 2025 is the tour, then Act 2026. I'm also like, Beyonce, what's happening? Like, is this an exit? Because we have the hairline, we have the perfume, and now we have like the albums and then the tour. So again, I'd like to address those that hate Beyonce. I just think it's weird. I really think it's weird as a woman to have that much hate for someone, because I really think it's love. I think the opposite of love is indifference. You can be indifferent. Like, okay, fine, maybe that's not your tea, but you're trying to tell me you don't like one Beyonce song or one Beyonce album or video? Like, stop. The woman has so much influence, and she just cares about her craft. That's why I'm like, I would always pay for a Beyonce concert, because she's gonna give you a show, like a full-on show. We need more of that. Care about the craft. Care about the craft. I'm curious to see what happens. I know she didn't go to the Country Music Television Awards, but I'm curious to see what happens with the CMA, and see how it goes. Like, this album is just amazing. I cannot stop talking about it. Like, it's a history lesson. It's cohesive. It's genre defying. It's just really, really good. And she believes that this is her best project yet. So if Cowboy Carter says it, I love it. So thank you for making it this far of this review. I clearly had a lot to say. Thank you for sticking with me, but fuck it, we shaking. Bye. Yeah.